Hello, and you are more than welcome back to Little Miss Drop Stitch. Today we have a great tutorial for you that Obi's very fond of because he likes pumpkins. Okay, it's called the Lil Chunky Pumpkin. Okay, and it's absolutely great for beginners, just really simple knit purl stitches, and I'll show you a great method for getting those segments on the pumpkin as well. Absolutely free tutorial. If you would like a paper copy version, that's free over on Ravelry as well. Everything will be in the links and whatnot, bits and bobs down below. Thank you. Go on then. I'm going to start with the knitted flat version. If you're doing the in the round version, feel free to skip to that bit. And then after we've started that one, we will come together and finish off. So, first things first, for the flat version, we need to cast on 60 stitches, okay? So we've now cast on our 60 stitches. My top tip would be to have a long tail, so if you're using the thumb method, have more yarn than you need. So there we have it, and that will be used for gathering the bottom later on. If you've not, it's not the biggest crime in the world, you just attach yarn as if you would for any sewing. Okay, so we will go to the first row of our pattern. And there's only 2 rows to remember, so it's nice and beginner friendly. Let's get our tail out of the way. Okay, I usually put that to the left of me and I knit English style, but the pattern can be for any style of knitting. Okay, so first row, this is the right side. And the pattern goes knit 8, so 2, 4, 6, 8, knit 8, purl 2. And then we're going to repeat that another 5 times, so we'll have done it 6 times in total. So that's knit 8, purl 2. Now we've finished our first row, and that was a right side row. The second row is also known as a wrong side row. That will be on the inside of our pumpkin. So the pattern for this row is as follows. Knit 2, purl 8. And then you'll do that another 5 times, so that's 6 times in total. So knit 2, purl 8 on this row, and as your work grows, I don't need to follow the pattern then because I just think of it as knit the knits and purls the purls regardless of which side you're on. So on this side, there's more purls and we're purling the purls and knitting the knits, and then the other side, there'll be the main knit section, and then you'll purl the purls. I will join you back when you've not only completed that row, but then you're going to do a right side row and then a wrong side row repeated. Okay, it's all in the instructions as well. And you're going to do that until it measures 5.5 inches. So right now what we're doing is the version that's knitted in the round, if that's what you'd like to do. I personally prefer this one because there's no seam down the back, okay? So we are going to take our circular needles, and any information about these and size and things are in the free instructions. Okay, and then we're going to cast on 60 stitches. Okay, so casting on 60 stitches, and I'll join you when we finish casting on. I've now cast on my 60 stitches. It might be a good idea to leave a long tail. To be honest, I would have probably wanted mine a bit longer, and we'll use that to gather the bottom of the pumpkin. If you're not, again, it's not a crime, just knot some yarn and sew as you usually would if it's a garment or whatever. So with knitting the round, we want to make sure our stitches are straight. If you would like a video on knitting in the round, let me know as well. Okay, there we go, nice and straight. Fab, put our tail out the way so we don't accidentally knit with that, because I'm sure we've all done that, especially with those extra long tails. Okay, stitch marker is going on. Maybe you have a nice Halloween stitch marker. Okay, and then the first round, and this is the only instructions you need to remember because that's the beauty of being in the round, okay, is as follows. So we're going to knit 8, that's knit 8 stitches. Okay, making all sorts of squeaky noises with the metal and acrylic. So knit 8, purl 2. 1, 2. Okay, promise it gets less stiff and less squeaky as you the rounds increase, and then you're going to repeat that another 5 times, so it's been 6 times in total for the round. So knit 8, purl 2. Okay, and then you're going to do that on every single row until your work measures 5.5 inches. The pattern will say what it's in centimetres as well. Okay, so we'll carry on. And then join me back when you've done that. So we're all back and we've knitted to 5.5 inches, which is about 14 centimetres, okay? And this is, don't forget, using chunky wool. This is chunky, or my other example that I did, that's double knit or sport weight yarn doubled, okay? So I've got the amount I need. So here we've got the height is shorter than the width folded, okay? So there we go, so mine's about 7 inches across. And then 5.5 inches. So what we need to do now is get our wool needle. I'll also cut it off. Leave a nice long tail. Just be careful if you're using quite an unspun yarn, because that does tend to come apart and break. And then, okay, so there was our last stitch, and I'm just going to go back into the first one and put them all through the needle. And then just shuffle them down. Okay, and then just pull the thread through, okay, and leave it there for now. If you've got a long tail, it won't come off, and if you've done the knitted flat version, you'll do exactly the same, okay, but yours will be all flat. We'll put our main pumpkin to the side for a moment, and we're going to knit the stalk. So again, I do try to leave a bit of a longer tail just for sewing up. You can do that after and add it on, but it just saves a step. Okay, so you want to cast on 8 stitches. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, and you're going to knit the first row. Then you're also going to knit the second row, okay? And knitting every row, the pattern for that is called garter stitch, and it'll be a nice bumpy stitch that doesn't curl. Okay, and in total you want to knit 18 rows and then cast off. I've attached my needle and now we are going to roll it. Okay, so you want to roll it cast on edge to cast off edge. And keep it taut as well. This is in the written instructions as well if you'd rather have it that way. So it's like this one. So the bumps are running from bottom to top in one line. So make sure it's all nice and tight. And then I'm just going to over sew the edges. I'll do a bit of the top as well. Do be careful if your yarn isn't spun very much because it might just break. A couple of stitches to secure the top. I'm not loving this for sewing. And then I will just catch that edge there. The cast off edge, I'll just keep catching it in a whip stitch with some of the main fabric. There we go. This is looking a bit short now, so I will just secure it inside the stalk. This bit's going in the pumpkin, so we don't need to worry about it coming undone. So this is my other tail. Again, if yours isn't long enough, just join one on with a knot. Okay. And we'll put that to one side for now. We've got our main piece back here, okay? And if you've done the flat version, yours will be flat, okay? But we're all doing the same thing, okay? We'll start at the bottom and we just want to gather this. So, just going to go out and in, out and in. You can do it one stitch at a time. I try and gather a few just to make it quicker. Just try and not make your gaps too big. And make sure if you've come up, then the next one you're going down so you're not going over like that because that won't gather it, okay? Do this as close to the cast on edge as you can. When using chunky yarn like this, it may seem a little bulky. If you're running out of thread, you can pull because we'll be doing that in the end anyway. Just be careful you don't break it. Here we are, we're back to the beginning. Yeah. Back to the beginning. Okay, and now we want to cinch this. Okay, with bulky yarn, it's not going to make a nice cinch. So what I do, I just push the stitches along and then cinch again. Just remember not to pull too hard so your yarn doesn't snap. Okay. When you've got it as tight as it'll go, okay, I will then over sew this. This is, yeah, the bottom of my pumpkin, so you can't tell then when you come. Ideally if you've got a very sharp wool needle because it's quite bulky. So I just make crosses over it. Okay. Then after a few, it will pull it all together and you won't notice the gap. We're going to add sections to the pumpkin as well, so this bit will be covered. Okay, and then just go in and out a couple of stitches to secure, and then I leave the rest of the end inside the pumpkin. Okay, you can always tie a knot as well. Now what you want to do is stuff your pumpkin. Hey, to be sustainable on all the others and for my other pumpkin pattern, I did actually use an old cushion that had gone really flat, but the stuffing was still usable for things like this. And it did save me a lot of money actually doing it that way. So make sure it's nice and evenly stuffed, no lumps, okay, or there's no pockets of where there is nothing. The key is to not overstuff, okay, we don't want white spaces popping through the stitching. And that's why we've done slightly smaller needle size as well, to avoid that. A little bit more. Okay, and we'll cinch this a bit like we did at the bottom, okay. But before it's fully closed, I get my stalk. And cinch around, and then with the tail of the stalk, or you could do it with the tail of the pumpkin, I'm just going to secure that in place, so we don't actually need it to fully close like we did with the base. And you want to just put about 1 row of stitches inside the pumpkin and then just over sew and catch it, especially when you've done kind of multicolours like me, really funky colours, variegated yarn, then you can't see the stitches at all. See, I'm not doing it too neat and perfect, as long as there's no big gaps or stuffing showing through. You might just want to cinch it again every so often. And 1 more stitch for good luck. Okay, this is a bit of a sharper wool needle, that's better. Okay, and then I will just put it through, bring it out somewhere at the side, put it back through that stitch, and then bring it out through the side again. Well, then if you pull it in and cut, it will then disappear into the pumpkin when it springs back. Okay, now we're up to the final step. Oh, by the way, apologies, should have said, if you are doing the flat version, okay, when you've done the base, you will just sew up the side. You could do it with that length of yarn as well, or attach a new one. So you'd sew up the side and then you'd come to this bit. Okay, so you can attach a new yarn here. My tail's long enough, so I'm going to use this, and we'll show you attaching a new one in a short moment. So we've got 6 of what I call purl channels. Okay, and these are markers and indentations to make our pumpkin sections. Okay, you can see the difference between these. This almost looks slightly understuffed, but by the time we have the sections in, they will pop out. Okay, so I'm going to take it, put some tension on, but not enough that it snaps. Okay, then I'm going to come round into the opposite purl channel, so not adjacent. Make sure it's the one directly opposite. Okay, remember we've got 6 sections, so we'll be doing this 3 times. Okay, then pull to add a bit of tension, so this does actually hide. Basically, yeah, so you've hidden the yarn, but you don't need to pull ridiculously tight. Then to secure I just go kind of as near as the stalk as possible, but it is chunky, so you're never going to get perfectly near. Okay, keep that tension on and pull. And then I'll just hold the yarn there. Keep that tension on it. You can make any adjustments here and then do another stitch to secure. Okay, so there we've got one section. And that's secure, that can't be cinched anymore. Now, my yarn is still long enough, so I'm going to go into the next one adjacent. So I'm just going in there near the top. Okay, round to the opposite one. And secure. Gosh, I think it's going to be long enough to do another. If you didn't have a tail or you've run out, then just join another, okay? Do a knot, bring it through your fabric, come near your section, come out there, and then you can begin. And yeah, that's the one we've not done. I'm going to secure the last one. There we go. How nice is that? And then secure it off, down, come out somewhere, anywhere's fine. Okay, back in and out again somewhere. Add a bit of tension, cut, and then it will ping back into the pumpkin. That's what the base looks like. So there we have it, our little chunky pumpkin. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this free pattern. If you would like to see any more, there's plenty on the website, sewing ones as well, and I can't wait over the years to build up our autumn collection of pumpkins, different weights and things like that. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate you liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Take care.